inside the roaring heart of Arrowhead Stadium, just moments after the Kansas City Chiefs had clinched a hard-fought victory against the Baltimore Ravens. The atmosphere in the locker room transformed into a wild, joyous spectacle. Travis Kelce, the team's star tight end and the man who had captured not only football's attention but also the affection of pop superstar Taylor Swift, found himself at the center of a celebration unlike any other. The echo of battles still hung in the air. Helmets thudded to the floor, laughter rang out, and sweat-soaked jerseys were tossed aside as players relived the final moments of a game that demanded everything they had. Kelce, energy coursing through him, hopped up onto a bench, his red tank glistening under the fluorescent lights, and with a grin that stretched ear to ear. He called out to his teammates, "Kansas City, we're just getting started." The room erupted. Rookies and veterans alike whooped and clapped, and then, with perfect timing, Kelce threw his head back and shouted, "Taylor, this one's for you." In an instant, his teammates picked up the cue, chanting her name in unison, turning the locker room into a spontaneous celebration that blurred the line between post-game tradition and pop concert. If you love moments like this, make sure you hit subscribe. All season long, the presence, or even just the rumor, of Taylor Swift at Chiefs games had become a phenomenon all its own, woven into the fabric of the team's journey. Fans and media speculated endlessly about her attendance. Every glimpse of her in the stands sent a ripple of excitement through the stadium, and her connection with Kelce became the subplot that everyone wanted to follow. As the team's fortunes rose and fell on the field, the story of Kelce and Swift played out in tandem, each making the other's successes feel bigger, brighter, and more joyful. Teammates teased Kelce about his high-profile relationship, some even jokingly brushing up on Swift's lyrics in case they were called on to serenade her after a win. When the Chiefs battled the Ravens, the tension was thick enough to cut with a knife. The Ravens' trademark defense pressed hard, making every down a contest of will and skill. Patrick Mahomes, unflappable as ever, ducked and dodged, delivering passes under pressure, while Kelce fought through relentless coverage, taking hard hits and never letting up. The fourth quarter was a nail-biter, with fans hanging on every play, the score too close for comfort and the stakes impossibly high. Then with the clock winding down, Mahomes rolled to his right, eyes searching. He spotted Kelce darting across the field, unleashed a rocket, and watched as Kelce soared, snagged the ball, and powered his way into the end zone. The stadium exploded, fireworks, cheers, and a rush of teammates surging to meet Kelce in the end zone, their joy uncontained. Back in the locker room, the adrenaline was still surging. Gear was tossed aside, high fives and hugs were exchanged, and Kelce, always the showman, relished every second. He waded through the crowd, swapping jokes and sharing in the collective happiness, his earlier shout-out to Taylor Swift now the stuff of instant legend. Some players belted out snippets of Shake It Off, others danced with exaggerated moves, and the camaraderie in the room radiated out to every fan who would soon see the viral video. The clip rocketed across social media, racking up millions of views and turning that spontaneous shout-out into one of the night's defining moments. The world outside the locker room couldn't get enough. Headlines popped up everywhere. Kelce's locker room serenade, Chiefs celebrate with Swift style, and victory never sounded so sweet. On the sidelines, Coach Andy Reid smiled wide watching his players cut loose. He'd worked hard to build a culture where personalities could shine, where victories were celebrated with as much spirit as they were fought for. The sight of Kelce leading a Swift sing-along was proof that the Chiefs' locker room was more than just a workplace. It was a brotherhood built on trust, energy, and genuine affection. In interviews after the game, players spoke openly about how Kelce's relationship with Swift had become a wellspring of good vibes. "You can just feel how happy he is," one lineman said, grinning through a mouthful of Gatorade. "He's always been a leader, but now he's got that extra spark." Another chimed in, laughing that they might need to download more Swift songs just to keep up with the celebrations. Even the coaches admitted that the team's energy felt different, lighter, and more fun than ever before. With every week, speculation about Swift's game day plans seemed to grow. Would she be in the stands? Would she watch from afar? Every sighting, every rumor sent Twitter into a frenzy, and her reactions to big plays became must-see TV. For Kelce, The idea that Swift was cheering him on, whether from a stadium seat or a living room couch, gave every catch and touchdown just a little more meaning. Fans loved it. They showed up wearing Swift-inspired jerseys, holding signs with her lyrics, and hoping to catch a glimpse of the NFL's most famous couple. Chiefs social media leaned in, posting behind-the-scenes videos of Kelce teaching teammates the chorus to Love Story, their off-key voices and belly laughs showing a different side of the team. The coaching staff got in on the act too, with Andy Reid joking at a press conference that he'd have to memorize some Swift lyrics before the next win. Kelce himself embraced the attention. He posted a locker room selfie, victory sign raised, adding a playful nod to Swift's lyrics in the caption. Within minutes, Swift liked the post, setting off another online storm of memes, reactions, and speculation. The couple's playful back-and-forth delighted fans who loved seeing football's grit mixed with the glamour of pop stardom. Even as news stories took over the news cycle, the memory of that locker room scene stuck with everyone who saw it. It became a symbol of the season, a moment where hard work, love, and celebration collided. The win over the Ravens wasn't just a step closer to the playoffs. It was a night that felt magical, a reminder of how sports can create memories that linger long after the final whistle. As the Chiefs pushed forward, the Kelce Swift story only grew. Each week brought fresh excitement. Fans showed up with new signs, new costumes, and new hope for another viral moment. Rival fans, even those rooting against the Chiefs, couldn't help but join in, singing along when Swift's songs blared from the arena speakers, snapping photos of Kelce's now iconic touchdown dances. Even the team's most serious players got swept up in the fun, and the locker room became a place where the pressures of the season melted away into laughter and friendship. Chiefs' media accounts played with the Swift connection, responding to fan questions with winks and emojis, keeping everyone guessing about the next surprise. Friends and family described Kelce and Swift's relationship as a grounding force, a partnership built on mutual support and quiet moments far from the noise of fame. Teammates admired how Kelce balanced the demands of a championship season with his private life, never letting the spotlight dull his drive or his happiness. Away from the crowds, the couple enjoyed simple pleasures, quiet dinners, board games, long conversations about dreams and the future. Yet every game day, the story returned to Arrowhead, the star tight end, buoyed by love and cheered by millions, playing with a new kind of confidence. Subscribe for more stories where sports and music collide. As the playoffs loomed, the memory of that wild post-game celebration stayed fresh in everyone's minds. For the Chiefs, it was more than just a team win. It was a celebration of every bond that made them stronger. The story of Kelce's shout-out to Swift became a rallying point, a shared legend fans would retell again and again. Across Kansas City, people talked about it in barbershops, classrooms, and diners, everyone adding their own spin to the story. Even as the postseason approached, the energy Kelce brought to the team, fueled by love, laughter, and a touch of pop star magic, remained a secret weapon. In the locker room, Coach Reid would sometimes catch his players humming a Swift tune, their voices echoing off the lockers, and he'd just shake his head and smile. For a team that had seen its share of big moments, this was something new, a blend of sport and spectacle, heart and hustle that couldn't be scripted. The season pressed on, each win and setback adding another layer to the story. Chiefs fans, swept up in the magic, kept believing, kept singing, kept showing up, hoping for another moment where football and fairy tale met under the bright lights of Arrowhead. And as long as Travis Kelce kept making plays and sharing his joy, and as long as Taylor Swift kept cheering him on, those moments would keep coming, each one bigger and sweeter than the last.